Namaste everyone. Welcome to Advaita Vedanta Satsang House. We are resuming on the Bhagavad Gita sessions starting. And so this will continue on all weekdays from 8:30 p.m. IST. So the replays of the earlier rooms are available either in Clubhouse or you can go to the Advaita Retold YouTube channel. There is also links shared from repositories in Apple Podcasts, Spotify. There's also a link to a book titled Imaginary Door, Renderings of Bindu by Artemisia. That's available on Amazon. So with that brief introduction, I'm going to close the chat and hand raising when Binduji is conducting the class, after which we will open up those channels for Q&A. As always, thank you, Binduji. Over to you.
Thank you, Prakash. Namaste and Hariom to all of you. My invocations. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loga Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashikritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarutah Stunvanti Divyaistavai Vedai Sangha Padakramo Panishadai Kayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam na vidussura suraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Om. The fourth chapter, verse number 21, what we are going through. The Shankara Bhashyam is pending. Nirashir yadachittatma yakta sarva parigraha Sharira eva galakarma kurvannobi na kilbisham. Yatachittatma, controlled the mind and intelligence. Yakta sarva parigraha, giving up all sense of proprietorship over all possessions. Nirashihi, without the desire for the results. Kevalam, only Shariram karma kurvan, keeping the body in the work and doing so, kilbisham na apnodi. He never acquire sins. In the Shankara Bhashya summary, Shankaracharya concludes that merely bodily actions refers only to the actions necessary for the maintaining the body. Performed without ego or desire, such actions do not produce sins or bondage, and the knower of the self remains free because all karmas have been burnt by knowledge. The Bhashyam goes like this. Yakta sarva parigrahasya yatehe. For the renunciate yatehe, who has abandoned all possession, annadehe sharira sthitihi hetoho parigrahasya abhavat. Since he does not possess food and other means necessary for maintaining the body, yachanadina sharira sthitau kartavyatayam praptayam. When the necessity arises to sustain the body through begging or similar means. So, annadehe sharira sthitir heto parigrahaya aparisya abhavat. He does not possess food and other necessaries, saying, in the form of accumulation, storage of grains, thinking what will happen in the rainy days and things like that. Nothing like that. What is necessary for maintaining the body is seen as a necessity when the hunger arises. And that time, if the food is available through begging or other means, or in the form of gift by others, that is all what he takes it. Ayachitam sanklirtam upapannam yadruchaya. This is the Ashwaparva of Mahabharata. That is, it is permitted by scripture that which comes of its own accord, unasked and unprepared. That is what is being given here. Ityadina vachanena anutnyadam. That is what the scripture says for the purpose of the yati, how he should perform in this world. Yatehe sharira sthiti hetu annadehe, that prapti dwara avishkurvan aha. Thus, the means by which a renunciate may obtain food and other necessity for the body is what is going to be how explained in the final verse in the Karma Vichara Prakarana, before going to the Yatna Vichara Prakarana. The 21st verse established the Pandita's Pandityam, his inner and outer conditions. The Nirashi Yatachittatma Tyakta Sarva Parigraha. These are the three words used. That is, Nirashi, no expectation on the fruits. Yatachittatma, restraining the body and the mind. Tyakta Sarva Parigraha, no aggrandizing accumulation of or anything. Neither he doesn't even think about what is required even at the body level unless it is required at that time. Shariram kevala karma kurvan. Acting only at the body level and declared that the fruit na apnodi kilbisham. When he is living like that, he is not acquiring any sin or he is not bound by the empirical world. Now the next verse 22 completes the portrait which we have seen now with 4 further qualifications and delivers the culminating statement of the Karma Vichara Prakarana. Kartva api na nibadhyate. Even while acting, he is not bound. This is the final definitive resolution of the Karma Vichara, means the thought process or the discussion on the karma, which started at the 16th verse. Kim karma kima karveti kavayopi atra mohita. That is where it started. What is action? What is non-action? Even the rishis were deluded. And the answer to the Kavi's delusion, action performed in the manner, were described from the 17th verse till the 22nd verse, including that, where it is saying it is not binding him, even those actions. With the 22nd verse, which we will be studying today, this prakarana, the thesis or the short aspect of discussion on karma reaches its practical conclusion before the Yajna Prakarana, or the thesis on the Yajna, which will open at the 23rd verse. So for Shankaracharya, this 22nd verse is the sealing verse or the culminating verse of the Karma Vichara, means karma's discussion. It presents the final 4 qualifications of the Jivan Mukta. What are the 4 qualifications of the Jivan Mukta is being discussed in it. Each progressively deeper than the last. That is the order in which it has been addressed by Krishna. And then delivers the definitive moksha statement, the final result aspect of it, that Kritva api nibadhyate. That even though in action it is not binding him, means he is totally mukta, Jivan Mukta. The verse answers Arjuna's implicit question from the chapter 1 with the philosophical precision which he asked. The fully qualified Pandita acts Kritva and is not bound, na nibadhyate. The 22nd verse goes like this. Yadricha labha santushtaha dvandvatito vimatsaraha samasiddhau asiddhau cha kritvapi na nibadhyate. It's a very famous verse indicating the true picturization of a Jivatma as a Jivan Mukta. He is a Jivatma, at the same time he is a Jivan Mukta. So how does he behave? Yadricha labha santushta. The meaning is content with whatever comes by chance, accidental. Yadricha means by chance or by accident or by itself, not with effort. Dvandvatito vimatsaraha. There are 2 compound words there. Dvandvatita is the one. Dvandva means duality. Atita means one who has gone beyond. The transcendent of the pair of opposites. Dvandva means pair of opposites. The vimatsaraha, matsaryam, is competitiveness, jealousy, or emotions feeling out of somebody or something is there other than me, and I have to be better off than that. That entire picture is included in that one word, matsaraha. Matsaryam means competitiveness or the nature of one's one-upmanship. Vimatsaraha means is the negative of that. Free from envy and jealousy and competition, etc. Sama siddhau asiddhau cha. Sama means equanimous. Siddhau means success. Asiddhau means failure. Cha is the compound conjunction. Siddhau cha asiddhau means success and failure. Equanimous in success and in failure. Kritva api na nibadhyate. Kritva means having done or having acted or after acting in the world of empirical duality. Api means even although, even after acting. Na nibadhyate. Na means not, negative. Nibadhyate. Bandhanam is all from the bad dhatu. Badhyate means here it's a passive term. Nibadhyate means it is freed from, does not become bound. So na nibadhyate means does not become bound by that. Let us go into the depth of each of those words to understand exactly what does those words mean by that. The yadricha is a spontaneous occurrence or unsought arrival, chance, accident, what comes without volition. So that's a technical term and is specifically used in the case of a karma yoga explanation. It describes the mode of fruit reception, fruit of action, reception of the fruit of action. It is not that it is the fruit is rejected, but the mode with which a fruit of an action is received or addressed by a Jivan Mukta. It's not possible by others to do this. Because a Jivan Mukta, even a Karma Yogi is not to the level of Jivan Mukta. He may offer it to the God as a Yajna, as a Karma Yogi. But in the Jivan Mukta's case, he has no such offering to be done because he is himself has realized he is Atman or Brahman. So for whom is he surrendering or devoting it? In his case, that's action, and he doesn't see the fruit of an action separate from the action itself. For him, it is things or the nature in which the empirical world appearing to be in behavior. It can be food, clothing, shelter, encounter, circumstances, anything which arrives as yadricha means unexpected or by chance. From the Jivan Mukta's perspective, because they did not aim at any of these through sankalpa or ashish, nirashi. He doesn't have that sankalpa or volition that it should happen now, this fruit should come, I should get food, nothing like that. So yadricha means by total chance. Labha means acquisition, obtaining, gain. So yadricha labha means what is obtained or received by chance. Unsought, an acquisition arriving without any deliberate pursuit. And santushtaha is a person who completely satisfied not by the measure of it, not by the quality of it, not by the nature it is being given. Even if it is thrown at his face, he has the happiness in it. Even if it is given by scolding, he doesn't mind that. He has happiness because his happiness is not on the objects which is coming. His happiness is in his self. So he is thoroughly content with whatever comes in whatever manner and by chance or by unasked or unsought after. So the Pandita receives or the Jivan Mukta receives whatever the Prarabdha brings and is completely satisfied with it. That is exactly what is Yadricha Labha Santushta. It's a compound word of three words, Yadricha, Labha and Santushta. Yadricha means by chance. Labha means acquisition or receiving. Santushtaha means is the reaction he does for that. So Yadricha Labha Santushta, as for Shankaracharya, is the practical expression of Nitya Tripti, which is mentioned in the 20th chapter. To the external circumstances. Because Nitya Tripti in the 20th verse we were told and discussed that it is an internal aspect in which he is finding happiness within himself. Whereas yadricha labha santushta is that same reaction for external events also, or external circumstances. Nitya Tripta describes the inner state of the Jivan Mukta of eternal satisfaction in Atman. His abidance in Atman is the reason why he is Nitya Tripta, means satiated eternally. And Yadricha Labha Santushta describes the outer expression, complete contentment with whatever external circumstances brings to him. These are the same satisfaction experienced at two levels, the internal level as a Nitya Tripti by in Atman, and expresses outwardly as Yadricha Labha Santushti by external circumstances also. His happiness do not have variation. So he doesn't see anything other than himself. Whatever happens, he doesn't see that it is a happening. So that his abidance in the self is his true nature, and that is what is exhibited even when anything happens externally also. Whether what is given was given with love, compassion, scolding, or even by beating, he has no reaction to that. Shankaracharya identifies this specific mechanism of Jivan Mukta as that Pandita does not pursue phala through sankalpa driven karma. That is what was explained in the 21st verse, Nirashi. He has no desire for volition or no volition for a fruit of action. Therefore, whatever they receive always is unsought and delivered due to external circumstances unasked for. And being Nitya Tripta, he is eternally satisfied. Whatever the external situation brings, more food or less food, comfort or hardship, success or failure, none of them matters for him, because their satisfaction is not contingent on circumstances external, but it is rooted in the Nitya Purnata, or the completeness he is feeling within himself in the Atma. This is the Advaitic resolution of Trishna, thirst, where we discuss that Trishna, insatiable craving, in the case of an Ajnani, is never satisfied because the root of Apurnata is never addressed by an Ajnani. Yadricha Labha Santushti is the Jnani's condition, which is always satisfied because the root of Purnata is where he is abiding with. The external world's variability is entirely irrelevant to the Jivan Mukta. And the next word is a compound word, Dvandvatita. Dvandva means pair of opposite. Atita means having gone beyond, or that which has passed beyond, or which is who has surpassed that. So Dvandvatita means one who has surpassed all pairs of opposites. What are the pairs of opposite that constitute in the empirical world of experience? Sukha Dukkha, pleasure and pain. Mana Apamana, honor and dishonor. Shitoshna, cold and heat. Labha, alabha, gain or loss, Jaya, parajaya, victory and defeat. We have discussed all these things in our Sthita Pratnyasya Bhasha, in the nature of Sthita Pratnya. Sukha dukkhe samikritva labha labho jaya jayo. That, if you remember that verse. These pair of opposites are the fundamental structure of sansaric experience or the empirical experience. The jiva is perpetually drawn toward one pole or the other. Becomes one pole is pleasant and priya, desired by him. The opposite pole is repelled or because he is apriya for him, unpleasant for him. Generating an endless oscillation of raga, dvesha, raga, dvesha. Raga is towards the pole which is preferred. Dvesha is the pole which is repelled or which he doesn't want to avoid. And this drives the karma in the ajnani. But one who is atita, who has surpassed this, one who has transcended the pairs of opposite, or one who has suppressed their reaction to dvandvas, is at the sadhaka's level. But one who has surpassed them is the jivan mukta. Because the fundamental raga dvesha is dissolved by a jnani. So Dvandvadita describes the transcendence of raga and dvesha. The two fundamental psychological emotional forces that generate karma bandha or the bondage of action. Shankaracharya notes that the philosophical basis is this transcendence of raga and dvesha. Both rest upon the misidentification of Atman with the body, mind, intellect as the Upadhi. The false belief that the Sukha of the Upadhi or the body is Atma's Sukha, and Dukkha or the sorrow of the body is Atma's Dukkha. So when the Atman is recognized as Nitya Purna, Avyaya, Akarta, Abhokta, without the doership and enjoyership, then neither the pairs of opposites, both the Priya and Apriya, that is dissolved, diminishes. The Dvandvas quite continue to impart the Upadhi. At the body level, the experiences of heat and cold will be there. The pranas will experience the hunger and satiation, etc. But at the inner level, Atma remains untouched. And the jnani who knows the truth that I am the self, I am the Atma, Aham Brahmasmi, he is beyond the dvandvas or he has surpassed them at the paramarthika level. Shankaracharya contrasts this Dvandvadita or the one who has surpassed the pairs of opposite with the physical titiksha. The physical titiksha is forbearance, which is one of the requirements for preparation, sadhana chatushtaya. Where the Shat Sambati, you say yama niyama, there the titiksha comes. In the 14th verse of the second chapter, it was referred, Matra sparsheshtu kaundeya, Shitoshna sugadukkata. That is what is referred here. The entering of the contacts of the sense objects with equanimity. So titisha is patient endurance in the case of a sadhaka who is doing a sadhana still involving their inner tension. Whereas instead of titiksha, a jivan mukta is dvandvadita. He has complete transcendence. The pairs of opposite arise and pass in the field of prarabdha. It is an appearance for the Jivan Mukta. It doesn't generate any raga or dvesha in him, reactions. Because the root dehatma adhyasa, that I am the body, which would have made them relevant to him, is now replaced by I am the Atman. And therefore it has been dissolved. The another word is the vimatsaraha. Matsaryam or matsara is envy, jealousy, malice, competitive resentment, especially the pain at others' excellence. Listen, pain at another's excellence or gain. Parasampad dvesha or aversion to others' prosperity or wellness or their good status. All these comes under one word, matsara, matsaryam or matsara. This is arising from ahankara or the ego or the individuality. If another one has more than what I have, then I am in a state of matsarya. I am unhappy. But here the word is vimatsaraha. Vi standing for vigada. Means I have completely freed myself from the envy, jealousy, etc. or competitive resentment. So vimatsara points to the dissolution of ahankara separating function itself. The false self that sees itself as competing with other selves for a limited supply of good, that is not the way in which a vimatsara purusha or jivan mata looks after. When the Atman is recognized as Sarvatman, that self in me is the self in all, Sarvatma Bhava, the self of all beings. The 5th chapter, 7th verse says that Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. There is no other, which I always say the otherness, whose prosperity could be envied. Because the Vimatsara, the state itself is thus a direct consequence of Sarvatma Bhava, Sarvatma Darshana, or the vision of Atma of the self in all, as the self of all. This dissolved the very foundation for Matsarya, based on the ego, Ahankara. That I am a separate self-identity, I separate myself out from everything else. Then I get into the ego nature. And that creates this competition, envy, jealousy, etc. In the 18th verse of 5th chapter also is talking about Samadarshana, where it says Pandita Samadarshinaha, the equal vision in all beings. The Vimatsaraha Panditaha sees Brahman equally in the prosperous and struggling, the victor, the defeated, in the praised and the blamed. All of them. Because all are Atman, and Atman does not compete with. There is nothing other than Atman. Sama Siddha Asiddhaucha. There's next word. Samaha means equanimous, same or equal. Siddhau Asiddhau. Siddhi is when you achieve something. Asiddhi is when you lose something. The Pandita is sama or equanimous in both circumstances. Is not alternating between the equanimity and agitation depending upon the outcome, but maintaining an unbroken samatvam. And the pair of siddhi asiddhi as the height of dvandva, pair of opposites. Of all dvandvas, siddhi and asiddhi are the most consequential, because they represent the outcome level of all actions. The all other pair of opposites, dvandvas, sukha, dukkha, mana, apamana, etc., can be seen as derivatives of siddhi and asiddhi. Therefore, the equanimity in siddhi and asiddhi therefore represents the complete dvandvadita at the level of action and outcome. And it is the most practically relevant form of dvandva transcendence for a karma yogi. Shankaracharya says that the samasiddhau asiddhau cha is the culminating qualification for a jivan mukta. Before the verse's soteriological declaration, Shankaracharya reads it as the practical outcome level of expression of dvandvadita, where the dvandva transcendence is not merely a theoretical but an operationally demonstrated in relation to the most practically significant pair, that is success or failure. And that too, success and failure in action. The Pandita acts shariram kevalam, prarabdha driven shariram is by that. Whether that action is succeeding or failing is entirely out of the volition of the Pandita, because he has no volition, because he is an akarta. And therefore it is entirely irrelevant when you are abiding in the Atma's level. Since the Pandita identifies with the Atman, not with the body-mind outcome complex, neither the siddhi, success, nor the asiddhi, the failure, touches him. The Atman is nitya tripta. Here is the outcome. He is eternally satisfied or satiated. Therefore, he is equanimous in both. Sama, siddha, siddhaucha. Shankaracharya connects this to the 48th verse of 2nd chapter. Yogastak kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Siddha siddhau samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. If you remember this one, yoga, when it was defined, samatvam yoga uchyate. Samatvam, or the equanimity, is called the yoga. When siddha siddhau samo bhutva, both in the success and failure, when you are maintaining equanimity, that is established in yoga, performs actions having abandoned attachment, being equal in siddhi and asiddhi, success and failure. That equanimity is called yoga. This verse 4:22, 4th chapter 22nd is samasiddhaus asiddhauch, fulfills this definition of yoga. Therefore, the Pandita has attained the samatva of the yoga in essence. Then the outcome of maintaining these things, yadrchalava santushta, samam siddha asiddhaucha, is na karma na nibadhyate. Nibadhyate means is completely fettered or completely bound. Na nibadyate means he is completely released or unbound. When kritva api, even though having acted, the ultimate concessive statement of karma vichara. The entire weight of third and fourth chapters teaching is compressed into this one statement. Kritva api na nibadyate. Even having performed actions, intensive existence as a Kshatriya of fighting the war for Arjuna, if he has maintained the Pandityam or Samatva Darshanam, Yogas, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, then Kritva api na nibadyate. As Karma Vichara's conclusion, the definitive answer to the problem that was stated in the 16th verse. Kavayo api atra mohitaha. Even the Kavis got confused about karma and akarma. Because of that, Kritva api na nibadyate. The karma doesn't bind. Otherwise, karma is known to be binding. When you are riddled with raga and dvesha. The resolution of it, the inner qualification, what has been mentioned from 18th to 22nd verse of Karma Vichara. Action does not bind. Na nibadyate. The karma is performed. Nobody is stopping karma from being done. But kritva api, even when it is considered that action is being done, the binding does not occur. This is the practical truth of karmanya akarmaya pashyet. The seeing inaction in action or non-action in action. The akarma within the karma means karma does not bind. Please, that is the meaning of it. Seeing inaction, non-action, inaction doesn't mean the action is not functioning as action, but it is functioning as a non-action because it does not bind you. So, kritva api na nibadyate is the definitive soteriological conclusion of the Karma Vichara Prakarana, which started on the 16th verse and culminating in this verse. Shankaracharya unpacks this logical sequence of all questions. Karmanya akarmaya pashyet, that is Atman recognized as akarta within action, was stated in the 18th verse. Karma sankalpa varjita, no desire intention driving action, was described as the nature of the Pandita in the 19th verse. Same in the 19th verse, it was mentioned that Karma Bija was incinerated with the Jnanagni Dagdha Karmani. The fire of knowledge burns the seed of karma. Karma phala sangatyaga. The abandonment of the fruit of action or attachment toward the fruit of action, when it is abandoned, was described in the 20th verse. And also mentioned that he is a Nitya Tripta Nirashraya, eternally satisfied and with no external dependence. Nirashraya. He does not depend on anything external for his happiness. His happiness is in the abidance of the self itself. When he is doing that, he was described as Nirashi, Yadachittatma, Tyakta Sarva Parigraha. In the 21st verse as no expectation restrained with mind and body, and there is no aggrandizing or accumulation of anything. So he has done the parigraha, sarvatekta parigraha. But he does karma, shariram kevala karma, does action through the body, but he is abiding in Atman. Atman is uninvolved. When that being the nature of the person, he becomes content with whatever comes. Yadricha lava santushta. This verse, 22nd verse. Not only that, he has surpassed or he has transcended beyond the opposite pair of opposites and free from competitiveness or the otherness. Therefore, dvandva adida vimatsaraha. And culminating in samasiddha siddhaucha. Equanimity in both success and failure. All these things are possible. Krutva api na nibadhyate. Even after that, when his actions are being seen as action, it is actually inaction. Therefore, na nibadhyate. It doesn't bind him. So now the picture of the Jivan Mukta or the Pandita, both words are used alternatively by Krishna, is the picture of mechanism of non-bondage, karma bandha, which says that requires the conjunction of three elements. What are they? You should have the doership and superimposition of that, kartrutva vimana. Plus, phalaspraha, the desire for the fruits of action. Not only that, the dvandva of raga dvesha, the pair of opposites of attraction and repulsion towards the outcomes, success and failure, siddha siddho. The Panditas or the Jivan Mukta's qualification negates all the three. Because kartrutva abhimana is negated by karmani akarmaya pasyet. Naiva kinchit karoti, shariram kevalam. That is, karmani akarmaya pasyet. He is seeing non-doership even when the doership is being done by the body. Kevala sharira. Naiva kinchit karoti. Nothing is being done because Atma is akarta. And his shariram kevalam means his body is performing for what it is supposed to perform in the world, for the maintenance of it. That is why in the Brahma Sutra, when Shankaracharya defining about Jivan Mukta, he says a word, Pashwadishchava avisheshat, is not specifically different from an animal in the outside appearance. Avisheshat. There is no speciality between a Jivan Mukta and a cow or a pashu. Because when grass is shown, it comes for eating, but a stick is shown, it runs away. The sharira is the one which is coming for the food, and the sharira is which is running away. He is neither desiring the grass or the food, nor is he afraid of the stick, which is for the body, a pain. His phalaspraha, the result, desire for the fruit of action, is negated by kama sankalpa varjita, which was in the 19th verse. And karma phala sanga tyaga. Nirashi, yadricha lava santushta. 19th, 20th, 21st and 22nd. All verses have got these things. Kama sankalpa varjita in the 19th verse means without the volition for the desire. Karma phala sanga tyaga. fruit of actions, that attachment to that is abandoned. Nirashi means there is no ashach, desire for it. Yadricha lava santushta. He is not happy with specific needs, but his happiness is not dependent upon what comes. Raga dvesha, the pairs of opposites of likes and dislikes, is negated by dvandvadita, by surpassing the pair of opposites. Vimatsaraha, without the competitiveness or without the otherness. And samasiddhau asiddhaucha, maintaining an equanimity on the achievables and loss. With all the three bandha causing elements negated, karma performed by a pandita has no mechanism by which it can be bound. Kritva api na nibadyate is not a miraculous exception, but a logical necessary consequence of their complete inner transformation described across the 18th to 22nd verse. So all the four qualifications are equally important. Yadrchala vasantushtaha, dvandvaditaha, vimatsaraha, samasiddho asiddhaucha. And the main outcome is the kritva apina nipadyate. Even having acted, the pandita or the jnani is not bound. The four qualifications establish inner condition of a jivan mukta. Kartva apina nipadyate states the necessary soteriological consequence of that condition. The word api, although, ensures that the binding power of action is not denied in principle, but action does not bind. Action does bind under ordinary conditions, but with these qualifications, the binding mechanism is non-operative. Kritva api na nipadyate. So the qualification, karmani akarmaya pasyet, karma sankalpa varjita jnanagni dagda karmani, karma phala sangatyaga nitya triptaha nirashrayaha, nirashi yatachittatma tyakta parigraha, sharira kevalaha, yadrichhalapa santushtva dandvadido vimatsaraha. These are all operating at different levels. Epistemological level, motivational level, effectiveness, practical and circumstantial. So the movement is from inner vision, which was ascribed in the 18th verse, through the motivation of 19th verse, through affect on the 20th, and through conduct, which will come on the 21st verse, to the circumstantial response of the 22nd. Which this complete phenomenology of a Jivan Mukta's life across all dimensions. The Karma Yoga's economic principle is the Yadrichala Vasantushta. It is as encoding the Advaitic economic principle of the Jivan Mukta. Act without seeking the fruits of action, Nishkama. Receive whatever brings Yadrichalava and be completely satisfied with that santushti. This creates a perfect economic circularity without trishna. The Pandita lives within the circle effortlessly, not through discipline of contentment, which involves effort, not a discipline, but through natural santushti arising from the abidance in Atma, Nitya Tripti. This Advaitic resolution of the entire economics of desire, not a Trishna-driven economy of Ajnani, which seeks more and more, receive some, and then desire for more and seek some more. This cycle of asuntushti But for the jnani, it is a circle of santushti or happiness. Receive whatever comes, be satisfied with that, no new seeking, receive whatever may be the outcome. As one who has transcended the pairs of opposites, the samsara is not binding him. The oppositional structure of Vyavaharika life. Samsara is constituted by the dvandvas, pair of opposites. Existent, non-existent, birth, death, pleasure, pain, gain, loss, etc. The Dvandva has transcended not merely the particular pairs, but the organizing principle of pairing itself. For they recognize non-dual Atman as the single, indivisible, pair, transcending ground of all apparent duality. This is the Advaitic completion of the transcendence of pair of opposites. Krutva abhinibhadyate is a very important word, statement which we have to remember always. It is a complete answer to the Gita's central question. Shankaracharya reads Krutva abhinibhadyate as the complete answer to the question that has driven the Gita from first chapter 28 onwards. Arjuna's paralysis in the face of action. What he feared would bind him, papa, kilbisha, rebirth, etc. The answer reached through the philosophical journey of second chapter, third chapter, and to the fourth chapter. So act, Kritva, is not an optional choice for Arjuna. It's a Swadharma's demand. Kritva api, even the binding concern is acknowledged in the action. It is not dismissed, but guaranteed that nanibhadyate, it is not going to bind you. With the inner transformation described in the 18 to 22nd verses, if that is the inner transformation which has happened in the person who is action, then actions do not bind him. Therefore, the entire Karma Vichara Prakarana is thus detailed philosophical filling of this simple but profound answer. The reason Kritva apina nibhadyate is possible, the inner condition that make it so, the darshana that enables the karmani akarmaya pasyet. That is the key for this Kritva apina nibhadyate. And how does that happen? Jnana is that ground. Jnanagni dagdha karman. When that takes place, the freedom that is characteristics of it, nityatripta, nirashraya, etc. And the conduct, shariram kevala, for the action purpose. Therefore, there is an equanimity in the action outwardly or externally, which was shown by yadrichalava santushtaha, dvandvaditaha, sama, or the pair of opposites. So all actions completely dissolves into an infinite fire of Brahmans, into which all will become yajna, which is going to start from the 23rd verse. This action, which is done in the akartrutva, by a jivan mukta, is the yajna which we are going to discuss from tomorrow onwards. So the 16th verse is the promise. Pravakshyami, Krishna said that. And he said, what is the scope? karma, vikarma, akarma, the three bodhavyams. And he also said, what will be the vision of that when you have the bodhavyam, when you have the knowledge of karma, akarma and vikarma. Then you start seeing karmani akarmaya paschet. That actions will be seen as a non-doer, which will give you the portrait of the karma, kama, sankalpa, varjita, jnana, didanta karma. Both as will be the portrait, which makes the inner reality a possibility or a reality. Becoming nityatrupta, nirashrayaha, naiva kinchit karoti. He is not doing anything because he is akarta. Yet he functions. The conduct is nirashi shariram kevalam nahilbisham. And the external conduct is yadricha lava sandushtoha dundvatitaha kritva abhinan nibadyate. The complete journey from moha to moksha in the domain of karma is accomplished in the 7 precisely structured verses by Krishna. And now with the 23rd verse, the teaching transcends even this resolution, revealing that the Pandita described up to now does not merely act without being bound, nanibhadyate, but acts in such a way that all actions dissolves completely. Karma samagram praviliyete, into the infinite, all-consuming, all-purifying fire of Brahman, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi. The Brahman, that is the subject of Yajna Prakarana's magnificent opening. This is a long bhashya which we will read tomorrow, and we will enter the Yajna Prakarana tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Bindoji. The chat and hand raising are open. If there are any follow-up questions, we have about 20 minutes.
We'll see tomorrow then.
Okay, Bindoji. Thank you everyone for attending this session. Tomorrow we'll reconvene at 8:30 p.m. IST, where Bindoji will take us deeper into the aspect of the yajna. As always, thank you very much, Bindoji. Over to you to close the room.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you each and everyone who has attended. Let us continue our journey tomorrow. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi. We'll see that tomorrow. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Night.